It was a crisp autumn evening in Willow Creek, a sleepy suburb outside Seattle, when my world turned upside down. My name's Ethan Caldwell, and I thought my wife, Lily, and I had found our forever homie, a cozy craftsman with a sprawling maple tree in the front yard and a backyard perfect for our golden retriever, Max. We moved here in the fall of 2023, chasing quiet nights and friendly waves from neighbors. But peace, it turns out, came with a catch. The Willow Creek Homeowners Association, ruled with an iron grip by Vanessa Thornton, the HOA president, and her husband, Greg, a hulking man who looked like he'd been carved from a block of granite left out in a storm. The trouble started over a single garden gnome, a goofy little guy Lily named Percival, perched proudly among our dahlias. One sunny October morning in 2024, Greg stomped onto our lawn, his face red as a beet, pointing at Percival like it was a federal crime. "That's a violation," he growled, his voice like tires crunching gravel. I was pruning the dahlias, clippers in hand, and flashed him a grimy secret weapon. A smile can throw off a bully expecting a fight. "Morning, Greg," I said cheerfully. "Is it the gnome's hat color or one of Vanessa's rules?" His eyes narrowed. "No lawn ornaments. You got 3 letters about it." I kept my tone light. "Oh, I read the letters. I also read the HOA bylaws every mind-numbing page. Holiday decorations are allowed for 30 days, and Percival here makes every day feel like Christmas." I winked. Greg wasn't amused. He stepped closer, puffing out his chest, trying to loom over me. "You think you're clever, don't you?" I shrugged. "My wife thinks so." Max agrees. "The cat's still on the fence." I pointed at his shirt. "By the way, your collar's flipped." It wasn't, but the distraction worked. For a split second, his tough guy act faltered. Then he snarled, "Move the gnome, or else." I dropped the smile, my voice low and steady. "This is my property, Greg. The gnome stays. You should go." He leaned in, coffee breath hot on my face. "Or what?" I didn't flinch. "Or I turn the hose on you and call the cops to report a neighbor threatening me over a garden gnome. Guess who they'll believe?" We locked eyes, a tense standoff. I'm stubborn as hell when I know I'm right. And this wasn't just about a gnome, it was about my right to my own damn yard. Greg huffed, stormed off, and shouted, "Vanessa's gonna hear about this." I gave Percival a pat. "Brace yourself, buddy. The queen's coming." That gnome fight was the spark that lit a 2-year war I never saw coming. Lily watched from the porch, coffee in hand, a knowing smirk on her face. "Nice work, Ethan," she said. "But this is just round 1. She was right. Willow Creek looked like a postcard, neat lawns, matching mailboxes, but it was a kingdom under Vanessa's thumb, her binder of rules thicker than a phone book. We'd bought our house for peace, a place to sip wine on the deck and listen to the wind in the trees. For a year, it was perfect. Then Vanessa entered the picture. We met her at the neighborhood potluck, all perfect hair and a smile that could freeze lava. She clutched a clipboard, jotting notes like a general planning an invasion. The Wilsons got a notice the next week because their kid slide was unapproved teal. Vanessa's world demanded beige. Her letters started small, $50 for leaving trash cans out an hour too long, $50 for grass half an inch too tall. Then came a notice about a hairline crack in our driveway, demanding a full repave or $100 daily fines. It wasn't about keeping the neighborhood nice. It was about control. I started talking to neighbors, quietly. Mrs. Larson, a retired librarian, got fined for an improperly coiled hose. The young couple down the street had to rip out their lavender patch because it wasn't on Vanessa's plant list. Everyone had a story, but fear kept them silent. Except for old man Charlie, the neighborhood oddball with mismatched boots and a love for his pet parrots. He'd sit on his porch, watching everything, and when I mentioned Vanessa, he chuckled. "She's a hurricane kid. Better have a sturdy roof." Life became a game of dodging Vanessa's wrath. We measured our grass, aligned our mailbox, lived in quiet dread of the next letter. The peace we'd moved for was gone, replaced by a nagging fear of what rule she'd invent next. Lily kept me grounded. "It's just a neighborhood, Ethan. Don't let her ruin it." But it was ruined. Then came Percival, our tiny rebellion. We expected a fine, but not Greg's lawn invasion or the letter that followed, a notice so absurd it made the gnome seem trivial. It arrived on a chilly Tuesday in November 2024, in Vanessa's signature gold-embossed envelope. My gut churned as I opened it. It wasn't a fine. It was a demand to remove our maple tree, claiming its roots threatened the sidewalk. We had 14 days to chop it down at our expense, or the HOA would do it and bill us with fines. The sidewalk was flawless, I checked. Lily came home to find me staring at the tree, letter crumpled in my fist. "She can't do this," she whispered. "Can she?" I gritted my teeth. "She's the queen. She thinks she can do anything." This was personal. That tree was Lily's favorite, a symbol of our home. We hired an arborist who laughed and called it the healthiest tree in King County. Armed with his report, we went to the HOA meeting in the community center, a drab room with stale coffee. Vanessa sat at the front, Greg looming behind her. I presented the report, photos, facts. She didn't even glance at it. "The board's decision is final," she said, her smile venomous. "The tree is a hazard." I pushed back. "Your experts? Show me their report." Her smile widened. "Confidential." The room was silent, neighbors too scared to speak. Humiliated, we left, my anger boiling over. This wasn't about reason, it was war. I dove into the HOA's finances, requesting 5 years of records. Vanessa sent a chaotic box of papers, hoping I'd quit. She underestimated me. Lily and I turned our dining room into a war room, sorting receipts, logging transactions. The numbers stank: huge payments to Greenwood Grounds for basic lawn care, bloated legal fees. It screamed embezzlement. Meanwhile, Vanessa ramped up the harassment. Fines for a speck of oil, a stray weed, our house numbers, wrong font. One morning, our trash cans vanished. Another, a dead sparrow lay on our doorstep, a warning. I showed the neighbors proof, like a Greenwood invoice for Vanessa's own yard. Mrs. Larson's eyes blazed, but most were too scared to act. Charlie, though, grinned. "You're rattling cages, kid. Keep at it." One night, I found the smoking gun, an invoice noting work on Vanessa and Greg's property, paid by the HOA. It was theft, plain and simple. Foolishly, I confronted Greg alone while Vanessa was at Pilates. I held up the invoice. "You're stealing from us." His eyes flicked to the paper, and I saw not a dumb brute, but a calculating predator. He tapped a wrench against his palm. "You're meddling, Ethan. Stop digging, or your sweet wife, Lily, the nurse with the red SUV, be a shame if her brakes failed." My blood froze. He shoved me against a pillar, his threat clear: back off or lose everything. I stumbled home, shaken. That night, Lily and I sat in the dark, curtains drawn, debating surrender. "Maybe we should move," she said, fear in her eyes. But beneath it, I saw her fire. "No," I said. "This is our home. They don't get to win." We needed more than an invoice. We needed undeniable proof. I went to Charlie, spilling everything: Greg's threat, the fraud. He nodded calmly. "Greg's got a rap sheet: bar fights, intimidation. Vanessa keeps the real books in her office, a black ledger with the bribes, the kickbacks. Get that, and they're done." I stared. "Break in." He laughed. "You need a plan, kid. And a distraction. Lucky for you, I'm a master at those." Charlie's plan, Operation Winged Chaos, was nuts but brilliant. On Wednesday afternoons, Vanessa hit yoga, Greg the gym, leaving their house empty for 90 minutes. Their security system was high-tech, but Lily, a former coder, found a flaw: a 10-minute maintenance window she could trigger via their Wi-Fi. Charlie's role? Chaos. He'd spent days sprinkling special birdseed on the roof of Vanessa's rival, Mrs. Porter, who'd once challenged her for HOA president. At 2 p.m. on October 15th, 2025, Charlie blew a silent whistle, and his parrots swarmed Porter's roof, squawking like a Hitchcock film. Neighbors poured out, gawking. Lily, on a bench nearby, hacked the Wi-Fi. I, in dark clothes, slipped into Vanessa's backyard. Inside, the house was a beige shrine to misery. I found the office, the ledger hidden in a drawer. Page after page detailed their crimes: kickbacks, fake fees. I snapped photos, hands shaking. Then a burner phone rang on the desk. I answered, silent. Vanessa's voice. The developers thrilled. "Old man Charlie's foreclosure is set for next week. Once he's out, we start demolition." Greg's soil tests confirmed the land's toxic cleanup costs would ruin anyone without our EPA buddies grant. My heart stopped. They were forcing people out to sell contaminated land. Lily's text buzzed. Out now. I grabbed the phone, bolted, and hid in our bushes as the parrot frenzy faded. Back home, Lily's face paled as I played the recording. This is huge, Ethan. Dangerous. Charlie knocked, calm as ever, with a peach cobbler. I told him everything. His folksy mask dropped. I'm not Charlie. I'm Dr. Robert Hayes, chemical engineer. 30 years ago, I buried toxic sludge here under orders. I've lived here since, under a fake name, monitoring it. I knew they were crooks, but couldn't act without exposing myself. He leaned forward. Your photos and that call, with my testimony, will bury them. The HOA meeting was the next night, October 16th, 2025. We had a flash drive, ledger photos, the recording, Hayes' confession. But dread gnawed at me. Greg's threat lingered. We fortified our home-locked windows, a baby monitor on the door, bottles on the stairs as an alarm. At 11 p.m., the power cut, the street pitch black. No cell sign a la jammer. A crash at the back door. Greg was inside. Lily ran upstairs. I gripped a strobe flashlight. He kicked Max's water bowl, cursing. I hit the strobe, blinding him. Get out, I yelled. He swung a crowbar, smashing the wall. Smoke curled from the garage to set a fire. Sirens wailed. Lily had found a signal. Greg charged wild. I tripped him. He crashed into a bookshelf, buried under novels. Police and fire trucks swarmed. The meeting was electric. Neighbors packed the room, buzzing with rage. Vanessa tried to control it, but I took the stage, flashing ledger photos on the projector. Gasps echoed. The recording played Vanessa's voice plotting fraud and toxic deals. Dr. Hayes stepped up, confessing his past and their crimes. Neighbors erupted, sharing years of abuse. Police cuffed Vanessa in mid-denial. It was over. Vanessa and Greg faced charges: fraud, arson, assault, conspiracy. Hayes' testimony nailed their EPA crony and developer. Assets were seized to clean the toxic land. A new HOA board scrapped the rules. The Wilson slide went up in vibrant blue. The lavender returned. Our maple stood tall. Weeks later, Lily, Hayes, and I sat on our deck, cobbler in hand, the sunset blazing. Another gnome? I teased. Lily laughed. Don't you dare. I knew then how far I'd go for my home, my family, my ridiculous gnome. All the way. What would you do if your home was targeted by a corrupt HOA? Would you fight or flee? How far is too far to protect what's yours? Share your thoughts below, hit like, and subscribe for more stories that spark debate.